Join me today as we talk about the first two episodes of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name's Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about the first couple episodes of the newest Star Wars show on Disney Plus, The Skeleton Crew. I'm going to have some non-spoiler stuff and then a spoiler section, so here goes. The only actor I recognized in it was Jude Law. I've not seen the kids in anything else, and the few adults we saw, haven't seen them in anything else, and a lot of people on this show so far are aliens, hence under heavy prosthetics. So, first and foremost, this is a kids show. I say that. Minor spoiler, it opens with pirates raiding a ship and killing most of the people on board. So, it's arguably a kids show. You gotta read into that what you will. So, with that in mind, it does definitely have like Goonies in the Star Wars universe vibes to it. I thought overall it was decent for what it is. And this is the kind of thing that I'm not surprised anymore. That at one point in time I would have been surprised that it's taken Disney this long to make this kind of a product. Because they clearly recognize that they need more fans than the existing fan base, because they keep trying to replace them. But the real key is going after kids. I know it sounds nefarious, but that's how, people my age became fans of Star Wars, saw it when we were kids. So, having a product that's actually directed towards them is a great idea for brand loyalty. And like I said, it was decent. I don't have any major complaints. Other than the one thing I mentioned when I talked about the trailer, is that the planet, parts of what we see look a little too much like Earth as far as suburbs and things like that. But once you get to see the rest of it, you still got the big, the big mega structures in the city and things like that. You do see things that are clearly analogs to things on Earth. There's obviously buses, but there's no reason to believe those don't exist in Star Wars. It's just that we've only really seen the mega city planet of Coruscant, and then a bunch of backwater planets like Tatooine that have no infrastructure. And we've only seen a handful of examples in between, and we usually only see a city or so on those things. And they're all different. So, for there to be a planet where there are these things, again, I don't think the fact there's buses, that's not a big deal. Again, those should exist in Star Wars somewhere. But other than that, I don't have any real complaints. All the kid actors, none of them were super annoying or anything. They, all did their parts. They do all have, distinct identities. Not that I remember a single one of their names. But, I'm sure by the end I'll either have remembered their names, or I'll start calling them by various things the same way I did Squid Game back in the Acolyte. So, so we've got I believe three of them are human. Two of them for sure are human. I believe the third one is. The only reason I question that is her hair color. But, then the other one is the same race as, is it Max Rebo or Cy Snoodles? I can never remember. I think it's Cy Snoodles, the blue piano player in Jabba's palace. Looks kind of like an anteater. Also one of Luke's victims in there. He blew up Jabba's sail barge. But yes, there's a younger version of him. He's the timid, I'm not cut out for adventure, let's go back home kid. His best friend is the I want to be a Jedi Knight and go out and get on adventures kid. Then they're both boys, and there's the two girls, the older of whom I think she's older. She looks like she's probably older. Is definitely the I want to go and just do things and, jump into situations type. And then the other is seems to be like real mechanically inclined, like likes looking at things and how they work and putting them together and stuff like that. So different personalities, and I think it'll work. We'll have to see, obviously. But yeah, so there's some things going on in the show that I probably should have honestly paid just a little bit more attention. I'm going to rewatch these episodes because some things happened towards the end of the second episode, during the second episode, that made me wonder if I missed something in the first episode. So, yeah, but overall, I thought it was okay. I'll stick around. I'm not seeing anything like the dumpster fire that was the Acolyte yet. So everything seems to be going okay. And again, it is what it is. It's a kid's show. So, having said all that, I now need to proceed into the spoiler territory to tell you what actually happened in the show. So, you've been warned. Spoilers ahoy. So, the show opens with pirates attacking a New Republic ship, and this is set, the opening sequence makes it clear this is set after Return of the Jedi. So, the New Republic is trying to gain control of everything, but you still have issues with pirates everywhere because the New Republic doesn't have a whole lot of resources. And kind of makes you wonder how they ever defeated the Empire. But, it's one of those things, I guess. Empires just collapse. And so the pirates attack this ship. They come aboard. The second in command appears to be, is it Shistavanian? I think is what they're called, the Wolfmen. And then that was kind of a surprise seeing one of them. And then our captain strolls aboard wearing a helmet concealing his identity. And there's a big vault on board the ship. And the guy's like, oh no, we're really this kind of thing. And under Republic law, I order you to vacate the ship. And the guy's like, yeah, whatever. Republic ain't here. Open the vault. And he's like, oh, boys, our ship has come in, and something like that. And they open the vault, and there's a single credit in there. So, yeah. Then they start fighting the captain, and that's the last we see of them for quite a while. Then we go to the other planet. To the planet where all this actions take at Atten, I think is what they called it. And I guess I wasn't paying much attention, because I guess there's a barrier of some kind around the planet. And later on, once the kids have the ship and leave, well, first of all, everyone's surprised there was a starship because apparently they're not allowed there. And then once the kids take it and leave, they get beyond the barrier and they see the stars, and this is apparently the first time they've seen the stars. So they are like completely hidden, like they can't see out, no one can see in, apparently. So we got a bunch of stuff involving school. The kid I'm going to call is probably the main character. Apparently their planet has a test that you take that more or less determines what your job's going to be. And so they start training you towards that job based on the results. And it's coming up, and, his dad's got a kind of high-ranking job. And so, he wants his son to have a similar kind of job, but his son just wants to go and be a Jedi. And at some point, he gives him money to cover food for the week because he's not going to be there or something. And as we find out later in the second episode, what he gave him were Old Republic credits. Now, whenever they say that, I don't know if what they're saying is credits from the Republic, which are therefore old, as in the institution that Palpatine transformed into the Empire, or if they're saying the Old Republic, as in from 5,000 years ago. So I'm not entirely certain which way they're going with that. Maybe if I pause it and get a better look at the credits and the symbol on them, I can figure that out. But either way, the point is they're not the money that's in circulation at that point in time. and everyone seems very interested in them, which tells me they're probably like solid gold or whatever their version of super valuable is. And as kind of like I think the example someone said was like if you paid with like gold bullion instead of like quarters or something, or gold dollars, actual gold dollars. So, which are worth far more than $1 because they're made of gold. So they have various problems there at the school. He ends up missing the test. His dad's got to pull some strings to get him back into it, and they run into the other two girls who are racing and are preparing for like some kind of, sounds like a street race or something. And you have all these things happening, and then ultimately the kid finds the ship, and they dig it up, and end up, once they're on board, the hatch seals, so they have to turn the power back on to get going again. Once they turn the power on, everything activates, and the girl warns everyone not to push any of the buttons, but the other kid's like, yeah, this one button won't hurt. He's convinced they're inside of a Jedi temple that's buried there, because again, he's obsessed with the Jedi. So he hits the button, and like the auto start sequence engages, and the ship emerges from the ground where it's been buried, and turns itself over to right itself. And the kid's dad sees him, and he's yelling, "No, help us!" And he can't, because it's a ship blasting off. What the hell's he gonna do? So kids wind up in space. The dad tells some robots that, hey, my son just took off in a spaceship, and they're like, well, that's illogical, there's no spaceships here. And he's like, well, I saw it happen. So so they take off, jump to hyperspace. There's a droid on board that they've convinced they're the captain of the girl. The older girl convinces she's the captain of the ship, and convinces the droid that she killed the previous captain. So the droid takes them somewhere, and it turns out it's a pirate haven. And so they go there because they need to find a way back home, because the droid doesn't know where they just came from, didn't record it in its memory banks or anything. So they can't just like turn around and hit the hyperspace button. It doesn't work that way. And so they're going there, and they split up trying to find help. A woman comes to the aid of the two girls, or at least appears like she's going to, and she is, as near as I can tell, probably like the Star Wars equivalent of an exotic dancer. And she's like, you're kids, you can't be here, this is a pirate hangout, like you've got to leave. The boys go and try to order some food, and then they try to pay, with the credits, and that's when the guy realizes what they are. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, there's this other fee, and then this fee, and this fee. And then one other guy's like, hey, you're just trying to screw them out of that money. Like, and then he sees what they are, and he's like, oh. And so the kids run for it, and they all meet back up, and the girl's got a blaster. And somewhere in here, there is one of the pirates who is in Mandalorian Season 3. He's one of the goober pirates that works for the pirate they attacked, that was like kind of hassle and grief Karga there. And so I'm assuming this takes place after that, but I don't know. So ultimately they all get thrown in the brig, and whenever they're in there, there's another prisoner in there. He comes forward, and it's Jude Law, and he the key's hanging up there, and he uses the Force to get the key. Then they're going to escape. Now, this filled me with several questions, because I'm assuming that Jude Law was the pirate captain. I could be wrong, but that's the assumption I'm operating under here. And if that's the case, I don't know how he lost to the other crew members, because he has the Force. And presumably, possibly a lightsaber somewhere. But, so you have that, but also, if he could do that the whole time, why didn't he? And I'm assuming that the answer is going to be he had nowhere to go, whereas these kids have a ship. They can try to escape. So we'll see how all that pans out. Also, when they ask the kids where they're from, and they tell them At-Aten, everyone just laughs. And you find out that At-Aten is supposedly some kind of lost treasure planet. and no one knows where it is. So no one can guide them back home. And yeah, so there's probably also a thing like their planet probably also believes like they probably have no clue what's happened out in the galaxy. I'd say there's a very real chance that they know nothing about the fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire, the fall of the Empire, the rise of the New Republic, the destruction of the Jedi, Luke, Vader, any of that. They probably know absolutely none of that. And yeah, so we'll see where all this goes. I'm not going to say excited because I expect Disney to completely screw this up somewhere along the way. But I'm interested, and I think as a show, like, I have no idea, because I'm not a kid, I have no idea what modern kids are interested in, but had this been presented to me as a kid, I'd be interested in it. So I'm, I don't want to say I'm hopeful that kids will become interested in it if it just leads to more of the standard Disney crap. But if it's the beginning of actually trying to turn things around, which, I mean, again, we'll have to see what the rest of the show looks like. There's no guarantee that anything else is ever going to be good either. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Like I said, decent. Definitely a kid's show. Getting strong kind of Goonies type vibes from things. Yeah. No major complaints yet. We'll see how many episodes that takes to change. But yeah, so that's all I've got. Let me know what you folks think. Did you watch the episode? You're not going to watch the episode? What have you? Did any of that sound interesting at all? Any of that stuff? Other than that, yeah, just whatever you want to say about the show down there, or presentation here. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. That's sharing and commenting are the best ways to help us grow the channel, and we appreciate all of you who are helping us in that manner, and all of you who have stuck around to get us over 450 subscribers, and hopefully you stick around for as long as this crazy ride keeps going. So that's all I've got. Hopefully that's all you folks need. I don't know. I'm not gonna be one of those, oh, here's the 100 Easter eggs that were buried in the show, because I'm not gonna go over there with a fine-tooth comb with a team of 30 people, because that's the only way you could ever get those episodes out in time. But we have a production staff of, well, me and some other folks that are on the channel. So anyway, that's all I've got. So just remember, the Force will be with you always.